What's up, quotient rule? Let's see the proof. Let me tell you straight up, we're going to go do this proof. You don't need to watch me do this thing. Well, some of y'all, you really don't need to see all of this. It's going to help us to, watching these proofs helps us to be able to understand what the heck's going on later. Notation is going to become just a pain in your ass as we move along, and watching these proofs help us to just learn to read the language, because it's confusing. It really does, and I feel like I know this stuff pretty darn well, and I get confused too. So we're gonna run through this proof, and hey, go check out some resources. Maybe mine aren't the best. You want to go see somebody else? Check out Black Pen, Red Pen. I love that dude. Professor Leonard on YouTube. They're all free. Go check it out. So we're going to use that same concept as the limit as h tends towards 0, and now we got to do, what is it? All right, we got to do that the x plus h shit. It's minus just the x stuff. So we got to change everything too. So we're going to write our f of x plus h over your g of x plus h. Right, there's your stuff of x plus h minus your f of x over your g of x. Cool, bro. Let's do it. Now we get to start cleaning this stuff up. Algebra time, except we're dealing with functions, and we're going to have another one of those miraculous add crap, take crap away. So first, let's start off with, let's get rid of our complex fractions. Let's just multiply by the LCD. So what's that? G of x plus h times g of x, and then we'll divide by the same thing. So there's your magical 1 that we're going to multiply by, just 2. But, I mean, that's not really magical shit. It's how you get rid of fractions. So fraction bust, we'll bring this stuff in. All right, we'll get all the different pieces. So when we go to our first, of course, we're going to lose that g of x plus h. So let me put all this stuff down here right now. I'll stop color coding in a second just to show you. There's that denominator. That's not the issue. It's the crap that's up here, right? That's the issue. So now we put all this stuff together, and our g of x plus h would cancel when that one comes through, right? That g of x plus h cancels, so you'd just be left with this f of x plus h, and that would just be the g of x. Now we subtract out, and we're like, well, once this one comes through, now I can show it a little bit better. Those g of x's just cancel, and you're left with f of x times g of x plus h. Okay. Alright, so here it comes. Here comes our magical, just out of nowhere. Let's just add f of x times g of x. And then let's just take it away. Cool. Cool. And all we're going to do is some fancy freaking algebra. We're going to basically move this to the second in line. And then we'll do some fancy footwork. But there's some good lessons to be learned along the way if you follow along. So I'm not going to break it up into multiple limits quite yet. I'm just going to break it down like this. And we're going to have that common denominator. So I'm going to start with our first one. Just call it h times g of x plus h times g of x. I'll put little dots in between so you can see it. And then we're going to have something over here, our h times our g of x plus h, all over our g of x. Cool. We're going to break it up into pieces. So let's take this one and put them together. That'll be our first one. Cool. No big deal. I'm not going to color code. I'm just going to say f of x plus h. Actually, that's g of x. I'll color code the red just to show you that that part's coming over here. Now, here's the messed up shit. Here's the weird. Let me just write this off to the side. F of x times g of x plus h plus f of x g of x. Oh, but wait a second. This has a negative in front of it, so I got to use a negative. Now I just want to factor the negative out to the front of this problem. So that our leading term becomes positive. But it's going to change the sign in the back end, right? It's going to change that sign. Well, that's what's going to happen to this fraction. Because we're going to take this and this, and we're going to factor the negative out to the middle and create a minus sign. So it's going to change our signs and leave us with that f of x times g of x plus h from right here. And then this piece right here is actually going to change to a negative, and we're going to subtract out that f of x, g of x. So it looks like we have two subtractions of that negative, but we don't. That negative, negative, that goes in. That goes in. So here we go. Dang. I think we got it, but bro. G of x, g of x, g of x. That's all going to cancel. That's all going to go away. That's going to go away. Look at this. Look at this. We're going to, things are about to freaking happen, aren't they? So let's get to right into our next step. So let's do the factor here. So, oh shoot, how did that happen? I'm not paying attention. Zoom in, and we're gonna take that g of x from up top. We're gonna factor that piece out to the front, and it's just gonna leave us with this f of x plus h minus f of x. Let's just kind of like put a little bracket around that, just to show that we factored it out of that piece. And we have h times g of x plus h. And there's that g of x. So now we can go take care of it. So you'll see that it's here and here. They are going to cancel. Now, I'm not going to write this shit a second time. You know what I mean? I'm going to cheat, y'all, because here it goes. Oh, they just went away. They just went away. Okay. Let's go. Let's play the same game over here. What do we have in common up top? What do we have? I think we have some sort of f of x in common, but we don't seem to have the g of x. But we're not going to stress about that. We're just going to take this little f of x. We're going to take it to the outside. We're going to be left with this g of x plus h minus g of x all over. Sorry, that's bothering me. All over h times g of x plus h times g of x. I'm going to close my bracket back there. I think, again, are you going to let me cheat? Let me cheat just a little bit. Let me cheat just a little bit. I just want to do this. Is that okay with you? You get mad at me for cheating? I just don't want to write I just don't want to write this in. I want to write a limit as h goes to 0. I want to bring that whole thing through. Break it up into a couple pieces. Just saving me some steps. You know what I mean? Just brought the limit in. That's how we did it before. I just waited a step. Now, we look at this one, and this is no big deal. I think I'd like to break this first one into just two pieces. The limit as h goes to 0, and let's just do this. F of x plus h minus f of x. Let's leave that up top, and let's leave our h right down here. And then we could multiply by 1 over g of x plus h minus. Cool. Now, here's the weird. H is going to 0. This has an H, this has an H, this has an H. We can't pull this shit out. But hey, look at that f of x and that g of x. They have nothing to do with H. These two. They have nothing to do with H. So let's just factor that out to the front. So we're going to end up with f of x over g of x. That's the limit as h goes to 0 of our g of x plus h minus g of x all over, what are we going to get here? What's left? We got that h, and then we have this g of x plus h down below, huh? We got that down below, so let's put that there. And I should do this just to show that's all inside the limit. Wow, is this getting notationally dense enough for you? We're almost there. So what's this? Let's just look. I'm a skip stuff. The limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h is equal to, that's the freaking derivative. That's the derivative of f. Minus. Now let's just go look. What happens as h goes to 0? What's going to happen to your h? Why did I write minus down there? It's a multiplication. I'm sorry. That's going to be 1 over, when that h goes to 0, that's just going to be 1 over g of x. Minus, now we go over, we got that f of x, g of x, which is not inside the limit. But once again, I could play that freaking game with breaking this piece off. Making it over here and going 1 over g of x plus h. And looking at it as two separate things. This here is g prime of x. So we're left with the multiplication of g prime of x from there times 1 over g of x. Now this is just algebra. We can clean it up and get a nice little formula here. So let's write it as f prime of x over g of x. I know it's so much, minus, and what do we get? F of x times g prime of x all over g of x times g of x. So I think that's g of x. I think that's squared, isn't it? But I'm going to leave it just like this. Now let's just create a common denominator. Let's give it a g of x and a g of x, and then I think we're there. So we're going to have g of x all squared down in the denominator, and up top we're going to have f prime of x times g of x minus f of x times g prime of x, and this, my friends, is the derivative of a function over a function.